I'm going to talk about one of my hyperfixations, which I've had since I was like 13. I've had this hyperfixation, I guess, for, well, yeah, about 13 years now, um, and have been working with this hyperfixation for 13 years. It's kind of a long time to be so fixated on one thing, but to be real, it's something I don't really talk to anybody else about. Today, I'm going to be talking about music theory. When I was 13, we went to a church service in a very, very tiny little church, and it was my very first church service. While we were at this church service, I was so focused on the organ and on the music and the songs and psalms and hymns, and I was so like focused on them, and that's the bit that I enjoyed about the service that I went to. It was our first church service. We'd heard about it from a local who we'd met because we'd just moved to the area, and me and my stepmom went to this church service. But the reason I enjoyed it wasn't because of the service itself. It was the music, and it was the singing bit that I really enjoyed, because I grew up kind of loving music and enjoying music. I didn't know anything about how music was made, how it was produced, anything like that. I didn't know anything about any of it. I just loved music as I was growing up. I listened to music constantly. At this, even to this day, I can't really do anything without music. But the problem is now, because of the training I received, all I can think about when I'm listening to music is listening to each part of the music, how all the instruments fit together, and how the singer is using their voice, and how they're using their vocal folds, and all this fun stuff. Like, that's kind of what I see and what I hear whenever I'm listening to music, because of the training I received, because of my vocal teacher. After that service, I approached my stepmom and said to her, I want to find a church choir to join. We found one at what has become my favourite church, not because of anything else, but because that is the place where I discovered music in its entirety. I had tried like singing for years and had a good baseline for my voice back then. I mostly listened to like very pop songs. I wasn't listening to anything like too strenuous on the voice, which meant that my voice was very like poppy. It wasn't really like it didn't have any kind of tone or anything to it. It was very, very basic, and it wasn't great. It wasn't a brilliant voice, but there was a bass line there that could be worked on. So we ended up going to another church. It was a St. Mary's church, and there is where I met my um vocal teacher and now very good friend, whose name is Rosie, and she's very, very lovely. I still keep in contact with her. I still talk to her quite often. She doesn't teach me anymore. She doesn't give me any like vocal coaching anymore. Um, but I'm still friends with her, so I talk to her a lot. I was just a little baby. I was a little 13-year-old child who had just gone into high school and didn't really have any friends and didn't really have anything else going for me. So I was very happy and excited when I had the opportunity to go and sing with Rosie and the rest of the choir. It was a very small choir. There was only about 3 or 4 people, but everybody was very lovely and very sweet, and was a very different experience from the other church that I tried. We started off just kind of, I went to rehearsals and we sang and learnt hymns and psalms and all that kind of stuff. Um, Tricky stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. The choral music, when it comes to church choral music, is actually pretty difficult to do, because a lot of psalms are, well, let's put it this way. The psalms are very like one note. You stick to one note for quite a long time, and then you kind of go up and then down, and then it just goes on one note again. Psalms are like, it's basically you're talking but you have a bit of notation to it. There's no like, it's very like monotone. There's no like up and down. There's no like diversity when it comes to the notes for a psalm. You get given a note, you sing that note, and then sometimes it will go up at the end of a sentence, and that's kind of about it. It's very tricky to stay on one note because your voice wants to like play around with it, but you can't play around with a psalm. You just have to sing it. Hymns are a little bit more kind of the normal music experience, which is like you get a bunch of notes, you get a time signature, and then you just sing, essentially. I don't really know how to describe notes without going into like a huge amount of detail, because notes, they here's the thing, I only know the treble clef. I've obviously never learnt the bass clef because I didn't need to. I wasn't anywhere near the bass line, so I was very much like soprano. I'm now more alto. Hi, it's Editing Dungeon Thane here. I just wanted to like correct myself in this moment because I am a perfectionist when it comes to this kind of shit. I meant soprano is the highest you can go. There is one above, but I can't quite remember what it is. You can go like, most sopranos can put their voice up to a falsetto, but there are, youngsters, young kids and that kind of thing that go straight for like falsetto kind of, which is like the highest you can go with notes, like high as fuck notes. Like the notes, you have to understand, notes don't have to stay within the block kind of radius that you would usually see. I'll put like a little diagram thing on the screen, but there's like the every good boy deserves football, right? It's like EGBF, like all that kind of stuff. But so it's not just this like this block of like notes. No. Notes can go above the stave, but they can also go below the stave, especially on bass lines. It's more common on the bass line areas that like the bass clef, that notes can go below the stave. They don't have to stay within this little block. They can go underneath. But just like in a bass clef when it can go underneath, on the treble clef it can go above the stave. Anyway, that was I thought that might be a better explanation than what I've given, because what I've given is fucking shit. Anyway, carry on. But when I met Rosie, it was like a very good like instant thing of like, this person's gonna teach me. This person's gonna teach me stuff. And she did. She taught me very well, and I am very happy to have been taught by her. She is a very, very, very talented human, and very she's just very good at her job. She herself had only just started at the church. She had just brought the choir up, essentially, and was like, we're doing a choir. We started rehearsing, did all the thing, did some services, and then it got to a point where she approached me about doing an award called Voice for Life, which, if you've not heard of it, is essentially it's an RSCM thing, which is a Royal School of Church Music. It's an award that you can get as a chorister. It starts with the white award. It goes white, and then it's the blue, and then what's the next one? I think it's, because I got the white and then I got the blue, and I think it's like the Dean's Award, and then it's the Bishop's Award. Hi, it's just Editing Thane back once more to just kind of. So I put up a picture on the screen of all of the Voice for Life awards you can get. You can get white, light blue, dark blue, and then it's the Bishop's Award, and then it's the Dean's Award, and then it's the Bishop's Award. So it's 5 altogether. I got the white, the light blue, and the dark blue, and the Dean's Award, but I never got to get to the Bishop's Award. I did explain this, like, in the video, but I just wanted to, like, reiterate. And you spend years getting these awards. I spent 4 years altogether during the time that I was getting vocal coaching, getting these awards. It does take a long time. It takes like 6 months for you to rehearse for it and prepare for the assessment. And there's one a singular assessment day that you go to, where you go to a room in a church, not necessarily your local church, but just a church somewhere where there's the local examiners from the RICM, and you go into this room and you essentially just sing for them. I got merit on all of them, so I received them. Didn't get any distinctions, but I didn't really mind. It didn't really bother me. The reason she put me through the Voice for Life award is because my voice was starting to really improve. I used to have a very nasally singing voice. It was like nasal, and I had a very baby voice whenever I was singing. But there was like one day, it was just the one singular day. Somehow we were doing training for the Voice for Life award, and it was just the one day where all of a sudden my voice matured to it just went to it. For some reason it just clicked in my head of, oh, if I just open my throat just a little bit more and use my throat and not my nose, it will sound really good. And it did. My projection was better, my tone was better, my notations were better. Like, it was all better. She said, okay, we're just gonna we've got to try something. And she just kind of went, okay, this next bit, I need you to like use your lungs. When it comes to singing, there is a few annoying things that even I notice that singers do. And I only notice these things now because of Rosie. So thanks, Rosie. But I noticed that sometimes if a singer is an untrained singer, and hasn't gone for any kind of vocal training, doesn't have to be with a church choir, it can be with a vocal coach that doesn't do like choral stuff. But if you are wanting to train your voice, I encourage you to do it at a church choir. You do not need to have any kind of belief. You do not need to have any kind of association with the church, anything like that. You don't have to go to services necessarily. But if you want to learn how to properly use your body in order to make a good sound, going to a church choir genuinely helps quite a lot, especially if they have a really good choir mistress. Like I did, because it feels different when you're using like everything that you're meant to use. It feels so different from if you're just trying to sing how you've always sung. If you sing in your bedroom as a young'un, if you're like a young person, if you're singing in your room, essentially you're using parts of your face. You're not using really your diaphragm much, you're not really using your throat much, but you're using parts of your face, you're using your nose mostly to make the noise that you hear when you listen to your favourite song. Which is okay, and that's fine, that's okay. However, you're not trying to imitate the person that you're listening to, you're trying to improve on the person you're listening to. If you want to learn to sing in a more kind of authentic way, then go join a church choir. Or if you're able to, like, if you have the ability to pay for a vocal coach, then do it. I used to do vocal coaching pro bono. I didn't ask anybody to pay. I didn't anything like that. Like, I didn't ask for payment. Back then, I was very much like, hey, okay, you want to learn to sing? Cool. Because at that point, I was still in the process of learning music theory, but I knew enough about it and I knew enough about how to use your voice that it was like, I know how to do the basics. This is me kind of doing the starter pack for you. You need to go to this thing and do this to be able to actually get the full experience of vocal coaching, because I am but a humble person. I do not know shit. All I know is how to make your voice sound a little bit better than what it sounds like right now. During this voice training that I was going through, she also gave me not a crasher course, but definitely like a course on music theory. And this is where I really kind of fell in love with music just a little bit more. I went to go and visit some friends back in my hometown, and this was like a good couple of years ago, but I went to go visit some friends in my hometown, and I met up with a friend that I'd known since I was like a baby. I was a child. I was a baby. I was like 3 when I met this girl. She was a teenager when I knew her back when I was a kid, and now she's like a mum of 3. Like, she's a mum now, and she has a boyfriend who has a band, and they are very much like a metal band. And now here's the thing: I am not a metal singer. I don't know how to. I know how to do the screaming bit, but I don't know like how. I don't do that myself because personally, I don't want to destroy my voice by doing that, because whilst I know how to do it safely, I personally do not know how I could possibly do that safely for my voice and still have the same voice that I have now. Because I like how my voice is, even to this day, still developing. So I want to make sure that I keep my nice, normal, very jazzy kind of toned voice. Okay, so I went to go visit this friend. They were talking about a bandmate of theirs who, for all intents and purposes, was a very talented person, but also didn't know how to do the screamo bits in their metal songs. And they were talking about it, and they were like, oh, I just don't know how to teach them how to, like, I don't know how to, like, get through to their brain, like, how this works. They were talking amongst themselves. They weren't talking to me. I was talking to my friend, and then they were just talking amongst themselves, and they were just kind of like they were just kind of talking, like chill, like vibing essentially. And I was listening. I was half like listening to them, and then when my friend had like finished what she was saying, she was catching me up about her kids and how that's all going and all that kind of stuff and how life has been, because I hadn't seen her in a very long time. And I said, sorry, I was listening to you, but I was also listening to them. Have they got like a person who just cannot figure out how to do screaming, like how to like scream but like safely when it comes to like screamo shit? Because they had a bunch of like screamo phrases within their music. A lot of it was like, because if you listen to metal music if you listen to it, it is very growly and it is very like aggressive singing, and then they go into like screams like I can't I can't do it personally. I know how to do it safely. I know how it works, how you're meant to position everything, and how you're meant to like keep the air like I just know how it works. But I don't know. I don't do it. Yeah, they've been having such an issue with it because this guy, like, he can sing, you know, because he can sing. Like he just needs improvement. Like he needs to improve his singing voice and all this kind of stuff. And because he hasn't had very much training, if any at all, it's the tone isn't quite right, and like he can't really do the screams. Like he needs to be able to scream, and he can't do it without like damaging himself. He can't go for very long, which means that their sessions are very short, which means that they don't record very much, because he needs breaks, like a couple days breaks between each recording, and you need to be able to like scream. And I was like, oh, I said, has he really not had any like kind of training or anything to learn how to do it like properly and safely? She was like, no, he's not. I said, but it's so simple. And this like made, because I just started talking music theory with this person who had no idea about music theory, and she was just sitting there like, yeah, totally, Thane. Yeah, totally. I completely understand. And she didn't have a clue. And her partner turned to me and he was like, are you like a musician? I said, I'm a singer. I'm not a musician. I don't play any instruments. I just sing. And he was like, huh. Now, here's the thing. I want to put this out there. I didn't sing for them. I didn't do any kind of recording with them. I haven't done any of that kind of shit. I haven't done any performing, whether it be gigs or recording music or anything like that, for years. It's been a few years since I've recorded or done any gigs or performed anywhere. Like I haven't done anything like that in quite a long time. Just because there are no gigs to really find anywhere, and my band is spread across the UK and I have no idea where they are. So I didn't do any kind of recording or any kind of singing for them. I didn't perform. I didn't sing in front of them in that moment or anything like that. But I'm like, they were very sweet guys, and they were like, so how much do you know about like music? I was like, oh, like a lot. I don't know everything. I'm not like an all-knowing person, but I know a lot about it because I spent 10 years of my life at that point, because I was like, I want to say I was like 24, 25 at the time. And I was like, I think like I said, I was like, I've been like training up my voice for like the past 10 years, maybe more. And they just kind of looked at me and they were like, can we keep her, please? Because she knows shit. And we just sat and we talked about music and how it works and what they do for their stuff and what programs they use to record and what songs they record and what kind of music they like to record and all this kind of stuff. And we were talking about it and I was like, yeah, no, I think he genuinely, this person, because this guy was like, he can hold like a note. He's an okay singer. It's okay. Like, he's okay. He said, that's not even me like insulting this guy. Like, he's okay, but he definitely needs improvement. And I was like, okay. I was like, does he understand like the theory behind it, or is he a completely untrained individual? And he was like, untrained. I was like, that won't help. That'll do it. I was like, well, I mean, I'm not here for very long. I'm only here for like a week, so I can't like vocal train him in like a week to like improve. But what I would recommend is that you send him to some form of vocal coaching, specifically somebody who specializes in metal and screamo, so that he can learn how his voice is supposed to work. Because whilst I know the theory behind it, I wouldn't be able to help him. I wouldn't be able to teach him it. It would just be me talking. I wouldn't be able to give him examples. I wouldn't be able to do what a vocal coach should be able to do, which is give examples of what you should do with your voice and with your just general being to be able to get the noise that you want. And I said, either get him a vocal coach or you're gonna have to find somebody else, because you've written the songs and now you're in the recording stage. You want to get your songs out. If this person isn't working out and it just isn't going into his head, because I'm sure that you guys have tried to teach him, I'm sure that other people have tried to teach him, if it's just not going in, then either he doesn't want to learn, he thinks he doesn't need to learn, or he's just completely incompetent. Which I'm sure it isn't the third one, because everybody's competent. Like, nobody's that stupid. I just recommended they go find someone else who can definitely do the screams and shit. Because he himself, oh, his name's Luke. He's a good guy. I grew up knowing him as well. But he does know how to do like the screamo sections, phrases in the songs and stuff. I said, so either you need to do it, or you need to get someone else, or he needs serious vocal coaching. But that will take months, maybe years. So it's because you can't, much as people have done challenges in the past where they've gone, I'm going to learn to sing within like a month. I'm going to spend an entire month going to vocal coaches and learning to sing. And then after that month, I'm going to do this. It's like, cool. That's a lot of work. A lot of work to do in 1 month. You're basically doing, and I'm going to put this like very bluntly, you're doing a decade's worth of vocal coaching and learning the music theory behind it and all this kind of stuff within a month. That's a little bit unrealistic and a little bit strenuous on yourself, not only mentally but physically and vocally as well. You're going to kill your vocal folds if you try and get all of those like 10 years of all that 10 years of work done in 1 month. It's doable, but it would destroy you. You would be exhausted and you would be constantly having to go over the same shit that you have done for that month, like over and over again every single day. You'd have to work every single day, like every second that you're awake on your vocal coaching, in order to get to the point where you want to be at, to be able to perform in front of people and be happy with the sound that you produce. So this guy was unable to understand or to comprehend the theory that really goes into doing metal work and into producing a metal sound from your throat, because it is very much comes from, I'll explain. Yes, so a certain amount of the screaming will come from the throat because it goes through the throat and it vibrates your vocal folds ridiculously, just a lot. It because your vocal folds vibrate whenever you talk, whenever you shout, whenever you whisper, whenever you sing. They vibrate at a different frequency depending on what you're doing, and they vibrate quicker when you're singing. And when you scream, if you're going to just scream, just straight up scream, it's going to destroy your throat because it's a harsh blast of air that is going to go through your vocal folds and make them vibrate ridiculously fast, like too fast, essentially. If you're going to do it safely, you have to do it very differently. It has to come from the lungs and you have to produce like that kind of sound, like I think you can hear it. Yeah, you can hear it. Like sound, which doesn't destroy your throat, but you have to get so much air into your lungs that it has to like push that sound to be just loud, essentially just louder. You're just doing it but louder is essentially what you're doing. You're not necessarily screaming, because if screamo bands actually screamed, that singer would have maybe a year or two of voice like in them. Like they would not, it just wouldn't be, on top of all that, on top of like the learning to scream in a safe manner, you have to be able to scream a word or scream a sound that actually like goes with the music. And that's just like an added thing on top, where you have to make sure that you like use your mouth and use your tongue and your mouth and your teeth and all this fun stuff, whilst also trying to scream in a safe manner. It's essentially belting, but with a growling sound along with it. That's essentially what he had to learn to do. And it's not easy to learn. I personally do not do it, as I said, because I don't want to hurt my vocal folds, and I'm scared that I will. So I just don't. But he just couldn't get the theory of it like in his brain, and I was talking to Luke about it, and I was like, bro, I said, I don't think he's gonna get it, gonna be real, because like it ain't easy. It's not an easy thing. It's tricky. It's difficult. It's hard. He's not gonna find it easy. I'm sure that he thought it was gonna be easy when he first started, but like it's not. And he was like, yeah, no, he keeps destroying his throat because he just doesn't do it right. Music theory has been hammered into my head for over a decade now, and it hasn't left. So that information has stuck around, partly because I love it and I really enjoy listening to music, not only to like hear it and to like to listen to the music and to enjoy the music, but also to be like, but how did they make that sound? And then figuring it out with my own like body is just so interesting to me. This is what I mean when I say I can't really talk about music theory. I can't really talk about acting methods, which will be another video of mine. I can't talk about acting methods. I can't talk about any of that stuff with my friends because none of them really get it. If I tried, they'd all be like, that's nice, Dane. I'm happy that you have this hyperfixation. I just don't understand what you're saying, is essentially what they do. And I just don't talk about it. And I love my friends. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore all of my friends. They are so great. But they just, they wouldn't get it. They wouldn't understand. I tried talking to Swarm about it at one point, and he's a sweet guy. He's one of my best friends, but like he himself literally was like, I did try talking to him about it, and his response was, oh, like plinky plonky sounds that make your ears go yay, like that you make your ears feel nice, essentially is what he called it. I adore music theory. I love it. If I would be listened to on here, I would talk about different composers that I grew up listening to. I loved Mozart when I was a kid. I loved Chopin. I loved all the classic lads and ladies that would produce music way back in the 1800s. I read a small book about Mozart in primary school, that was in the library, because I was so interested in Mozart and his life story and how his music came to be, and the fact that he was a prodigy from like 4 and all of this stuff. And I was like, I kind of want to be like Mozart. That was like, it wasn't like I didn't listen to a singer when I was a kid and go, I want to be like them. I was like, I want to be a little bit like Mozart. I want to be able to understand the theory behind the music and be able to produce my own stuff and all that kind of thing. And maybe I will one day, but at the moment it's very much a thing of, I don't know how to play any instruments. I don't know how to produce music. I know how to sing, and that's about it. I have very talented friends that are all very awesome musicians who do such a good job, and yeah, I love it. I think that music in general is just such a universal way of talking about issues, and a really good way of getting issues out there to the general public that is in a fun way that they'd listen to and they'd understand the message and they'd take on the message and go, yeah, actually that's it. That is unfair. Like, that shouldn't be happening. It's just such a good universal language. And I'm very proud to be a part of like a music community where everybody just kind of loves the music. If I could put the music of a lot of musicians into Sibelius, a lot of it would be very similar, because there's only so many chords and only so many phrases and only so many things that you can do with musical notes, because what can you do? The musicality of it is very, very similar in every single song, and you'll end up hearing a song and thinking it's another one. Like, it's very samey these days, but doesn't stop the music from being good. And as long as it sticks in your head and is even semi-catchy, is a testament to how well the music is put together. And I just love the thought of music and its messages and its ability to make you think and make you laugh or cry or bring back happy memories or sad memories or make you remember people and all this kind of stuff. Like, there are songs that remind me of my dad, there are songs that remind me of my friends, and there are songs that like I'll hear and I'll go, oh, this person would really like this song. But the problem is and this isn't against my friends. My friends are all very lovely people and they support me in every way that I need them to. My friends don't really hear music in that way, I guess. I have a very different way of listening to music. I don't know. It's just a very different hyperfixation of mine that is not easily talked about because it's such a niche one. I just love music theory, and unfortunately I don't have anybody to share that with. So I thought I'd share it with you, that maybe some people out there would also see music theory as the beautiful thing it is, which is literally the theory of what makes everybody happy and what makes everybody listen. You know? Music is so universal, and it's such a beautiful way of talking to people. If I want to show somebody that I love them, I will make a playlist and send it to them and go, these songs in particular remind me of you. Just listen to them if you want to, like, but I just want to tell you that this is these songs make me think of you. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. It's like a mixtape, you know? So if you want another video where I just talk about music theory and talk about the history of music, then I will. But I just love my hyperfixation on music theory and how it makes me feel. It makes me feel happy. And if I need to, like, relax or chill out, I'll listen to music. If my anxiety is too high, I'll listen to music. If I just feel like having a bit of a dance and a sing, I'll obviously put some music on and dance and sing to it. And it's like, I just enjoy it so much. So much. I love it so much. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate you listening. I even if it's just one or two of you that listens and watches this video and vibes with me while I produce this shit, then that's all that really matters. Thank you for being here. And these videos will be going up twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. So all good there. If you want to join my Discord server, then you can down below. My Twitch, as I said, is linked in the description, along with a bunch of my friends' Twitch links are all in there as well. And if you want to subscribe down below, you can. That would be awesome. You can always unsubscribe later if you don't enjoy my content. And if you want to like this video, you can. And yeah, be good, support people, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.